Welcome to Healthy Leagues, the one-stop podcast that bridges the gap between small to mid-sized businesses and digital marketing. In this interconnected age of the internet and artificial intelligence, if you are looking to increase your online lead flow and close deals, or just someone interested in the fusion of business growth and digital marketing, this podcast is your avenue for success. Now let's get to our host, Brian Atkinson.
Welcome everyone to the Healthy Leads podcast brought to you by Ellington Digital. Today we've got a super fun episode. We are coming down to the very end of 2023, which has been a wild year for AI. So Angel and I are going to talk about ChatGPT, life before, life after it, some of the highlights from 2023 when it comes to AI. So Angel, super excited to run it back as always with you.
Hey man, favorite day of the week.
Favorite day of the week, Tuesday podcast week. I love it. So it is December 19th here right now. We've got Christmas here in 6 days or so. Do you have any big holiday traditions that you do with family or anything crazy like that?
Well, this year I'm away from my immediate family. Usually though, it's for one, I don't know if this is a Hispanic thing or what, but I don't hear that many other people doing it. But I remember we used to always open one present on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So I open always is one present on Christmas Eve, and then the food. Everyone we prep the food the day before.
Yeah.
So we'll be eating my family's Puerto Rican, so it's all Puerto Rican food. They'll have the mofongo, they'll have penne. Yeah, a lot of penne, rice and beans. My sister makes this 5-layer dip. It's exquisite. It's exquisite. So
It's
makes that.
I love it.
And I think usually try to think of some other food. Acapulcas, if you guys know what that is. It's a fried, it's called masa. I think you just basically, you put meat in it and then it looks like a potato, but it has meat inside of it. It's delicious.
What I'm hearing from this is I need to get the invite to your family Christmas so I can try all these foods. That's honestly what I'm hearing from this.
It's delicious, man. Literally, the most important, while the gifts are awesome, the food is better.
Yeah. And the company's the best part, of course. Of course, we have to say that. But that's funny. Yeah, my family, when we were growing up, we actually went away from this, but we used to do the one Christmas present on Christmas Eve. I don't know why that's a thing, but maybe it's a little bit of a teaser. But that's something we did here in Iowa as well.
I'm curious, when did you find out Santa wasn't real?
Dude, someone asked me that question this past weekend. I found out Santa. I remember I was on a bus. I was going to the YMCA. Or I was at the YMCA, and I remember someone telling me Santa isn't real, and I don't know how old. And and it was a very convincing story. And I was at that age where you're like, is he real? Is he not? But that threw me over the ledge. Where I don't remember. I remember him not being real. But I was probably 8 or 9, maybe somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit young. Definitely younger than that. I feel like I was 7. I feel like I was 6 or 7 actually. How old were you?
I don't remember the age, but this is what I remember. My family, they weren't very sneakily with it, right?
Yeah.
So they would wrap, I don't know what it is with my family, but they have a matching OCD with the Christmas tree and the presents. So the tree lights and the decorations have to all match the presents and the gift. Yeah, the gift wrapping colors all have to match. So I started to notice that Santa had the same handwriting as my mom. So I was like, why does Santa write the same way that my mom does? And then number 2, why does Santa have the same gift wrapping that my other presents? Yeah, so it was over time, I was like, this is adding up. And I just kind of naturally was just all right, obviously Santa. Number 1, another thing too, there's no dang chimney in my house.
Yeah.
Is he walking through the front door?
Leave the door
through
unlocked.
the window? Yeah, I'm like, there's no way this man is real. So
that's so funny.
That's how I came to it.
I would say the 24-year-old in me still kind of believes in Santa. I have a saying: if you don't believe, you don't receive. So I will. There will always be a tad part of me that believes in Santa, just because.
Once I watched the Polar Express, which is my favorite. I don't know
that's my favorite, dude. It's amazing. That's my favorite Christmas movie. I love that Christmas movie.
The Polar Express. Everyone wants to say it's the most boring movie, and I'm like,
oh, it's
man.
So good.
The Polar Express. But after watching that, they're like, you just gotta believe. And when he ran the bell.
Oh yeah.
And then he started to believe, and now the bell rang. I was like, oh, all I gotta do is just believe. So like, I'll fake believe,
Yeah.
I have the Christmas spirit. I'll put it that way.
Dude, I hate when people hate on the Polar Express. And everyone, I promise we're about to dive into the episode, but I hate when people hate on the Polar Express because Tom Hanks had like 5 voices in that movie, and like the animation for the time was like incredible. It's just something that if you appreciate movies and good production, and like it's so good.
Hot. Oh, we got it. The best part.
Dude, that song's a banger, but
every time it comes on, I'm always standing up.
We're talking about AI news. I love that your favorite movie is the Polar Express. That's a fun tidbit between us now. But everyone, we have some really cool news. Bill Gates came out with his annual blog post recently and talked about AI in it. Of course, this is the year of AI. He's of course going to talk about AI. He said that 2023 was the first year that he used AI for, and I quote, work and serious reasons, unquote, saying that the industry now is better understanding what AI can and can't do. When you think of work and serious reasons for Bill Gates, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'm still trying to figure out what serious reasons. Like, I think we were talking about this before, and I was just like, the first time you said that to me, I was like, serious reasons. I don't know what that means, but must be serious, So,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good to see that even him, being of the older generation, right? Like they're starting to actually adopt this and putting it into their actual work lives. I mean, to me, it's just like AI is here to stay. There's literally the Pandora's box has been opened. There's no closing it. So I like the fact that he's adopting it, and now he's actually putting it out into the world, and now everyone else is going to go, you know what, this is okay to start doing so.
Yeah, and that's what he said. Another quote, a quote that's not as funny as work and serious reasons is the work that will be done over the next year is setting the stage for a massive technology boom later this decade. And he's also saying that high income countries are about 18 to 24 months away from just the general population using a significant level of AI. So you're saying the Pandora box is just open, but like I believe this as well, and Bill Gates does as well. So maybe there's some validity behind this. I feel like it is really just the beginning of like AI and like what we're actually gonna be able to do with it within like healthcare, like global warming purposes. So yeah, I feel like we're really just getting started with AI.
And you know what's crazy too? Like, I forgot what the direct term is, right? But there's like not an idea, but there's a principle where they're saying the adoption of technology and the rate at which it, increases and advances, gets better, is like exponential. So like it might start, it started over here and it was like, okay, going up.
Yeah.
But now it's going to go, it's just going to go straight up, and you're going to see advances within like, I feel like sometimes I'll check on the news, not even the news, but I might go on Twitter or LinkedIn, and 1 month, it's just like so much has changed. Even if I go into ChatGPT, the answers I get now are just so much more better. And then like now we have what's it called? Google Gemini, where it's like you could take a picture of something and try to figure out, okay, now AI can read pictures, multimodal. I forgot how to pronounce it, but so it's like all these advances within just a short period of time is crazy. So I'm like really excited to see how much it advances in the future.
Yeah, I feel like we're really at like when computers started becoming popular in like the early 2000s. I feel like that's what we're at like right now, is like the adoption is like it's still being adopted. You have people like us who are like really early adopters of the AI technology, but yeah, this is just going to start spreading across just the general population. And you spoke about like the older generation, like Bill Gates using it. Like, of course he's going to use it. He's a billionaire, like founder of Microsoft. Like he's well above the times, but like just general population, I feel like our parents will start to use it, and just general people for like their everyday lives.
It's funny, like it's really fun. I was helping my mother-in-law with her resume, and it was like I was like, you could just like, I was trying to help her change her LinkedIn profile first. So I was like, you got to have like a really good headline, So I couldn't think of how to spruce up assistant, So I was just like, let me just go to, AI, and let me just go to ChatGPT like I always do. So I type it into there, and she's never seen it before. So I was like, yeah, you just do this. She's like, oh my goodness. Like we were able to come up with a headline within 3 seconds. So she was just like, you guys, we can do this now. So it's funny to see other people's reaction to it.
Yeah, well, I think that transitions perfectly into like what we want to talk about, like really how life has been different like after ChatGPT. And I feel like that's one instance of like being able to automatically or instantly improve your LinkedIn profile or get someone else's advice being ChatGPT in like less than 3 seconds, essentially. And I feel like that's been a huge thing for like the adoption of ChatGPT, is just plugging in like, hey, I need an idea for like my LinkedIn or like a resume or something like that. I feel like, life has definitely been different after ChatGPT.
And it really comes down to what I think is going to be like a real game changer is the way that we're searching for information. So if you think about it, right, like now beforehand, it was just you go to Google, you may go to YouTube. I personally always liked YouTube, but you may just go to Google for like a standard search. How do I do this? Or how do I learn this? Whatever the question may be. And I don't know if I've always had this problem where, of course, I can't put too much detail into the
Yeah.
question. So, like, let's say I was looking for a MacBook. Actually, no, that's probably a terrible example. But let's just say I was looking for something very specific to the point
Yeah.
where the search query was like this long. You know, it was taking up, it was literally going across the bar. Like,
Yeah.
I would always just get bad searches, like I would have to scroll and have to find my search, hoping somebody had an article that they created probably 20 years ago, that would answer my question. So now I can literally just go into ChatGPT, Bard AI, whatever AI software you want to use, and the answer will just come up just like that. And if it's not right, then you can have, like, one of my mentors in my mastermind that I just joined, he uses it as like a conversation. So like he'll literally, he might type in something and you get a response, and then maybe you want to refine the response. So now you're typing back, and it's like literally you're having a conversation with a robot. So that's how I feel like is like one of the biggest ways in which has changed my life.
Yeah, I feel like there's just like so many usage cases for it like that, and like I feel like it is getting better. As my experience, it has been getting better in like the content that I'm putting in. Like if I needed to rewrite like a script for me, essentially, I'll plug it in, and like I'd say 5, 6, 7 months ago, I'd always be like, that's not very good. But like even today, I was doing it. Like I wrote a script for a video, threw it into this ChatGPT to like rewrite it essentially, and like there was like 3 like really good blurbs. So I was like, oh my god, like 5 to 6 months ago, 7 months ago, like the quality was just not there. So I feel like it keeps getting like better and better.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's why I love AI sometimes.
Yeah,
it's like the rate at which it's going. That's why I'm just like, I'm so excited to see what type of technology can we have at the end of 2024? Because even I didn't get to watch the full entire thing, but I'm pretty sure Elon just released robots, like the AI robots that literally look like humans. So I'm like curious if at the end of 2024 we're just gonna be walking around and there's literally, it's gonna look like a scene off of RoboCop or what's that movie with Will Smith?
Oh, I know what movie you're talking about. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
I remember.
Yeah,
like,
I feel
if it starts to look like that,
I feel like it'll be the day and age. Like right now, we're basically AI, in my opinion. It's just like we're still like the software level where like everything's like in our computer and whatnot, and like on like OpenAI and ChatGPT. But once you really start combining like the hardware with the software, I think that's going to be like super interesting, like what the usage cases are, because then you have like military implications, like police implications. I'm sure there's a lot more to like. Yeah, no, there's just 2 that come to mind right away.
All right, I was scared about that police one. Like the AI is gonna have to use historical information to determine, oh, should I stop this person or not?
I don't like that for a lot of
good.
Yeah, but I will.
I don't know how good that.
Yeah, I don't know what that's gonna be like, but the movie that we both saw, the creator, I feel like they had like some sort of like robo like cops in it at the end. I remember, so that's an instance for it. I'm sure we're still a long ways from that, but as Bill Gates said, like the work that will be done over the next year, setting the stage for a massive technology boom later this decade. And I feel like we'll definitely see something like that later this decade for sure.
Yeah. You know what's a big thing that AI has helped? People that can't parallel park. Have you seen the cars that can park themselves now?
Oh yeah, those things are so cool. I'm a good parallel parker. I don't ever use that technology, but yeah, those are sweet.
Literally, I lived in New York City too. Well, granted, I didn't have a car when I was in New York City, but just having a car and then having to parallel park, I'm like, I don't even want to do this, but I had to eventually learn. But I just know so many people are going to be using that feature.
Yeah. And one of my favorite pieces about like ChatGPT that I've used it for, like in my personal life, is so I'm a type 1 diabetic, and there's something called glucose. We'll go glucose index, and basically it labels like how a food will spike your blood sugar. So like frosting would spike your blood sugar like super quick, so it'd be like 99 out of 100, and then like a piece of broccoli would be like 0 essentially. So one ways that I'm improving my blood sugar is like reducing those spikes in like the food that I eat. So what I did is I went to ChatGPT and said like, give me like 100 foods that have a low glucose index. Gave me a bunch of foods, and I said like, give me like recipes that incorporate like 3 or 4 of these items, and they spit out a bunch of recipes that incorporate like chicken, vegetables, all these other like foods that won't spike my blood sugar. And that's actually been one of my favorite usage cases for ChatGPT. I feel like that's an app waiting to happen, but like just personally, that's how I've been using it the past year. It's been awesome.
When you said that, right? Like another example with my mother-in-law. She's on an AIP diet, I think is what the terminology is. But basically, it's like she's always trying to figure out something to eat. She's like, all her meals are just like a bunch of vegetables. I'm like, you gotta start getting creative with it. And I never even thought about using and like just asking it, hey, what are a list of 100 foods that are AIP friendly, part of the AIP diet. And I think even a step further, because how many times do we go to, because I was in the fitness industry beforehand, right? So it's like diet plans, right? Like, oh, can you create me a diet plan? And people would pay like $100, $200 just for a diet plan from, of course, like an influencer or somebody like that. So now I could just go, I'm going to try this later on. I could just go into ChatGPT and just say, create me a month-long diet plan with these foods. Like you can just feed it the entire information. That's crazy. I literally never even thought about that.
Yeah, that's like been one of the best ways that I've used it for. And like I went into my like diabetes appointment like 6 months ago and I told him this. I was like, dude, like this actually helps out my blood sugar a lot. One, I'm getting really cool recipes to make that I've never made before, but like two, like my blood sugar has improved a ton from this. So that's personally has probably been my favorite usage case from ChatGPT. And of course, like I've helped to do like some travel stuff and whatnot, but that's at the low level. I feel like the recipes for like helping my blood sugar has been like, it's been definitely the best usage case for it. So I'd recommend you do it for your mother-in-law as well.
I definitely will. Literally, as soon as I get home, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, look at this 7-week plan that I created for you."
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
You're the best.
You're my favorite. Yeah, son-in-law.
I love that. Let's talk about a little bit more like the work though. Like where have you used like ChatGPT for like the most during work?
Yeah. So of course everyone is going to say, content and stuff like that. I feel like one unique case is utilizing it for kind of research and ideas. So like, let's say I have a new client coming on, right? I may just go into ChatGPT, right? Like I could do my outside research, of course, right? But let's say I need help determining a customer profile.
I love that.
The business owner is going to know, hey, this is the people that we've sold to the most. I'll take that information, or I may just start from scratch, really, and just ask it, hey, I am this person, this, and this, and I'm looking for this, and this. Describe me in detail to the point of how do I even interact with people? What communities am I a part of? Where does this person frequent? What time do they go to bed? Like on average, because serving the ad times and stuff. So it's like I really do it a lot recently for research. So for particularly for an ideal customer profile.
That's interesting. So you're like gathering like info that ChatGPT is giving you on like these ideal customer profiles to like help target that audience a little bit better and craft that message.
Exactly. So like if I typed in, like, for example, there's I keep getting these ads for, I don't even own a dog, but like I keep getting the ads for the farmer dog, right? And and so like I give you those ads and I was just like, oh, like just out of curiosity, I just had ChatGPT open. I was like, describe the type of person that would purchase high quality human grade dog food, right? And I said, describe it in the amount of detail as literally like, what is their workout plan? Like, how often do they walk their dog? Where do they walk their dog? Where do they frequent? Like I was saying, like, what time do they go to sleep? What gyms do they go to? They use these type of people usually have a higher income. So they're usually going to Equinox Gym. They walk their dog 3 times a day on average. They value their dog so much to the point where they're willing to get a special type of pet insurance. They'll give you like recommendations on the pet insurance. So it's like all this information. And if I wish Facebook was like this still, but back then, like back in the good golden days of Facebook ads, you were able to target things specific, such as like, I'm trying to think of like Cesar Millan. I may be able to just target Cesar Millan. I don't know if you're still able to, but you could target something like Cesar Millan or something like a higher echelon dog brand or magazines. And so you can get really into the weeds beforehand with the Facebook ad targeting. So like that would have been golden, I mean, even if I wanted to use Google ads, I can target, like, because sometimes, right, for example, the CPCs may be too high if you just type in human grade dog food or something like that, right? Like the CPC may be too high. So you can target things such as like the insurance, like a super high quality insurance. Like that's a strategy right there to get a lower CPC. Well, that's probably actually a bad example because insurance is usually the insurance industry has a notoriously high CPC, but you get what I mean? Like targeting things adjacent to what the person does on a day-to-day basis. So I
really like that. I haven't used it for like research capabilities yet. That's actually like a really new like usage case for me. Cause like I'm thinking of like people like I would like want to target if that's like a VP of marketing, a director of marketing. And understanding a little bit more about like I have a marketing background, sales background, and like I've always sold to this, but like so I have an idea about what they want. But I feel like having ChatGPT be like another angle to that would actually be like super helpful to identify like, oh, here's our common goals that like a director of marketing strives for each year. I think that'd be a super good usage case.
Yeah, literally. And you could ask it like, hey, what common? Because I mean, most people buy things to solve solutions, right?
Yeah.
So there's actually this one. This is a perfect point that could have been generated from ChatGPT as long as you prompt it correctly. But one thing that my mentor in the mastermind mentioned was that when you're selling to CMOs or VPs or anything like that, what they care about, like these big organizations, right? These clients that have like millions of dollars worth of marketing spend.
Yeah.
You're not selling to the CEO usually. You're not selling to the owner of the company.
Yeah.
It's usually going to be that director of marketing, that CMO, etc. Those types of positions. And what they care about is actually just you making them look good.
Yeah.
which is like it was just like an interesting point. It's like, oh, they don't even too much care about certain little things like the price or other things like that. They just care about, hey, we have the budget for this. Can you make me look good? So it's like, okay, well, what problems do they commonly run into? Oh, most marketing agencies. You could ask it, ChatGPT, hey, what common problems does a CMO run into when working with an agency? Oh, the response time. Oh, the performance isn't, they don't pick up fast enough.
Interesting.
There's like a bunch of problems. So like you'll see all the problems listed out. And then you remember how I was saying on the last episode, I have that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That's how I get some of those answers. Like I'll ask it, hey, what are these problems? And it'll list out all the problems. Then I'll go back and ask, how would you solve this problem in those XYZ ways? Like, oh, does this need a checklist? How would you solve it in a checklist format? How would you solve it in a podcast format? Then it gives you like a topic, a whole syllabus or like a podcast episode, like gives you like the whole script and what to talk about. So you can get really into the weeds. But yeah, if you guys are at work and you have to come up with ideal customer profiles on who to target, use ChatGPT and just do a lot of research.
Yeah, I love the point that you made about like some of these like CMOs, VP of marketings at like really big companies with really big budgets. They really don't care how the video performs, but like they just want the video to like come off like really good. Like they're trying to elevate their status. And that was in $100 million leads, is like people like want to elevate their status and like they buy stuff to like make them a better person to like external people. So I think that's like the conversations I've had. Really, it's funny, like with smaller companies, it's always like, oh, like we need this functionality, like yes. But like for the larger companies, they're never like, oh, like we need this functionality. It's more like we want it. And I feel like that plays into like, oh, well, it'll make us look better.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times bigger companies, they have more of a brand approach, especially once you're getting into that ad spend of like over $1 million a year. Like they're really more so caring about brand, because like the smaller companies, right? And this goes into marketing, right? So there's a funnel. Right, there's top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. That's like the easiest way to categorize it into three different categories. So the top of the funnel is a humongous audience, right? It's a very broad. The audience has maybe that one interest. Then the middle of the funnel is like, okay, like these are the people that are kind of looking and they're in that consideration phase. Right. And then the bottom of the funnel are people that are ready to buy. There's only so many people at the bottom of the funnel that are ready to buy. So the smaller companies always want to take advantage of the bottom of the funnel keywords.
For sure.
The unfortunate thing is going into 2024, we're starting to see higher and higher CPCs. Right. So those bottom of the funnel keywords and bottom of the funnel like traffic and audience in general is so expensive that it's like you're not even going to be able to target so much. So you're literally going to be forced to go higher and higher in the funnel. Companies that are spending a lot, they're able to leverage, hey, like I'm driving a lot of awareness, I'm staying at top of mind, and maybe 3 months down the line, then the person's ready to buy. And the first person that comes to mind is a person that spent all that money advertising to person when they were at the top and now they're at the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I feel like the whole CPC, like as you just said, like it's getting more expensive to advertise and whatnot. But if you're using like these AI platforms, you can really hone in your message to make it like worth it to start to advertise on these platforms and identifying like those pain points that someone may have or like the goals they may have. That's always a good usage case. One that I've used when it comes to life after ChatGPT, I can say, is whenever I work on like a podcast or anything, it's really cool. You can just basically plug the transcript into ChatGPT and say like, hey, give me like 3 titles based off this transcript. It'll spit out 3 titles, like make a description, give me timestamps for all of it. So it has sped up my workflow so quick. And I know podcast editors all over the world are using ChatGPT for that reason. But yeah, that's another way that it has really impacted me the past year. It's been awesome.
Have you used it in, because sometimes I've done this too. Like, let's say we have like this podcast episode, right? And it goes up. You can grab the transcript and you can just say, hey, ChatGPT, what are some content, posts that I can write about based on this entire, transcript? And it may just give you 5, 10, 11, 12 different posts. And then now it's like, that just sped up my content creation game so much. Now I don't got to dig through this 1 hour long podcast or something and try to find content ideas. And you can do this for any podcast, really. So that's another big one.
For sure. Yeah. I use a platform called castmagic.io where I basically plug in the whole episode and they'll use ChatGPT to like extract the transcript. It'll give me like timestamps, titles and descriptions, like keywords, bio, bios for the speakers, and it'll also like write out like a blog post or like a newsletter thing, or like a LinkedIn post. So that's why I love podcasting, is because it's this one piece of content that can be used in like so many different ways. And yeah, it's just such a powerful way. And with tools like ChatGPT out there, it speeds up your workflow so quickly now.
Yeah. We were just talking to a client about, like, we mentioned Alex Hormozy, and we were just talking about how big his strategy was, and he was like, are you saying that I should, go with that strategy? And I was like, you can, and it would take like a massive amount of effort. Like the amount of content this man puts out, it's very hard to keep up. You really have to have an entire dedicated team, Ellington Digital. But so to the point of like his podcast, right? He can take that one episode and he'll literally chop it up into 5, 6, 7 different pieces of content, like a Twitter thread, a LinkedIn post, a LinkedIn article. Then he puts it on his own blog. That's the SEO. Then you can use it as ads, boosting awareness. Like I was saying, like that top of funnel traffic. That's the best form of advertising to people. You don't just have to show your testimonials and case studies. Of course, show those, right? And that's more for the middle of the funnel. But at the top of the funnel, it's all content. Like that's the best way I've seen it. It's all content. So if we have a lot of content out there, we can start promoting that content to people, like through YouTube ads. If you're on LinkedIn, I like the LinkedIn, not influencer ads. There's basically a way that you can go to the company page and promote a post from the employee. I'm blanking on the actual name of the ad type, but on LinkedIn, you can do those. So it's just like getting content out there is like one of the biggest ways.
For sure. And if you do have a podcast, like Alex Hormozy, like if you're adding a ton of value to people's lives through this podcast, like there's no reason you can't get like 10 pieces of content out of this, from like a blog post, as you said, like a Twitter thread, a LinkedIn post. Like that is really like the power of podcasting. And like that's, if you want to talk about opening a Pandora box, the podcast is the start. But once you open that thing, oh my God, you can get so much content out of it. And that's why people love podcasting, and how people are using like AI for their workflows and whatnot. But we do have to wind down this episode. We are coming to a stop here. So awesome episode talking about a little bit of life after ChatGPT. The Polar Express was probably my highlight of it. But Angel, thank you for hopping on again. Always a pleasure to speak with you.
Of course, man. Catch you later.